Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will call this regular meeting of the Sebastian City Council to order. You would all rise for a moment of silence and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Hill.
Here.
Vice Mayor Kitchen.
Here.
Councilmember Dodd.
Here.
Councilmember Iovino.
Here.
Councilmember McPartland.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any modifications to the agenda from council members this evening? Thank you. Leads us to item 6, proclamations, awards, and brief announcements. Item 6A, an announcement of the Insurance Services Office. Mr. Carlisle.
We had our building official, our marshal, here to present this and what it means to our community.
Good evening.
Sir.
The building department is audited every 3 years by the Insurance Services Office, ISO. ISO is an insurer-supported organization that provides advisory insurance underwriting information to insurers. Specifically, they rank building departments using a building code effectiveness grading schedule. It can be used as a tool to measure the community's efforts to mitigate property damage from natural disasters such as hurricanes. The building code effectiveness grading schedule measures how the building code is being enforced in our community, which has a profound effect on the resiliency of our buildings under the threat of a hurricane or other natural disaster. Such things as staff qualifications, code adoption, training, plan review, field inspections, contractor license enforcement, public awareness programs are measured and given a final grade of scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the best, with an exemplary commitment to building code enforcement. In May of this year, we had our 3-year audit from ISO, and pleased to report that we scored a 3 in commercial and 4 in residential. So according to the report, we exceeded the county, state, and national averages in nearly all categories.
Great.
I did want to take this opportunity on a separate topic. I want to report to council, inform the public that the building department has successfully implemented the new building department software program, My Government Online, MGO. In just 1 week, we're already seeing the benefits of it. We easily take in permits, scan documents, review plans, give instant feedback to the applicant through email. We're already issuing permits directly by email on some of the smaller projects. We're saving the applicant from having to come back to the building department to pick up the permit. All of our inspections in the new system will be real time. We're able to notify the applicant of inspection results immediately after doing them and include pictures as necessary. So very soon we'll have certain permit types available to be apply and receive the permits all online. So we're happy about that, and we're asking anybody who's interested to visit the building department website, cityofsebastian.org, and it's been updated to direct the applicants to the appropriate links.
All right.
So it's working out really well. We're happy
Great.
about that.
Thank you.
Great work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
6B, announcement of Government Financial Officers Association Certificate of Achievement for Excellence, I might add. Mr. Carlisle.
Thank you.
Mr. Kilgore.
The Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada reviews our budget each year. There's a panel of 3 reviewers, so it's other professionals that look at the budget and make comments on it, how we can improve, make it more transparent, make it present data that's useful not only to the public but to bond agencies and whoever other professionals. But there's about 1,600 participants every year that put their budget in for consideration, and we've been achieving this award for 15 years, and we hope to continue doing that. And I would say that it's not only my doing or my staff doing. We've got the budget committee that makes comments at city council. Year after year we get new council people that make suggestions and ways to improve it, and our goal and our objective is always to make it the best report possible. So appreciate the recognition.
Outstanding. Once again, excellent. No doubt we expect that from you now, but congratulations on that. Again, another department in our wonderful city that's showing excellence. So thank you very much. Mr. Carlisle, do you have anything to add?
It just goes to show, remember when the auditor was here and there were some direct questions asked. We don't do just what we need to do, we go above and beyond. And that's why this award is so prestigious, because it doesn't go to all 1,600. It goes to a very few of those. I don't have the exact number. But it shows that we're putting forth the effort to make sure that the public is well informed of what's in our budget, that, as he said, we're very transparent. We get input from committees, from council, and from citizens, and we implement that. And our budget, it shows that we're doing above and beyond just what we're required to do to make sure that we're being good stewards of the funds that you have us be in charge of. So thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Brief announcements, Madam Vice Mayor.
Tonight's announcements are about the annual 4th of July Freedom Festival. At 7 a.m., the Substance Awareness 5K run begins from Riverview Park North on Indian River Drive. At 8 a.m. are the opening ceremonies at Veterans Memorial Park. The parade will start at 8:30 a.m. from the Community Center South to Riverview Park. At 9:45 a.m., the Skydiver exhibition will take place, and there will be festivities in the park all day, and the fireworks will be over the lagoon after sunset, hopefully at 9 p.m., bearing any rain.
All right, thank you very much. And boy, I tell you, anyone in our community or outside our community, come down to the 4th of July celebration here in Sebastian, because it's really what Sebastian is all about, small town Americana. It just shows the great pride that the citizens of this community take, and it's just a wonderful event from start to finish. So I'm very much looking forward to my favorite day in Sebastian every year. Anything else from council members on brief announcements? All right, hearing none, that'll lead us to item 7, consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull item C.
All right, thank you. Item C. Anything else from council? Look for a motion.
I move approval of items 7A, B, D, and E.
Second?
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Kitchen?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Iovino?
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin?
Yes.
Mayor Hill?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, 7C. Mr. Dodd.
Okay, I pulled it because there's a duplicate page. It's page 35 and 36 in our handout. I think it's page 2 and 3 of the exhibit. They're actually duplicates, so I'll move approval minus the duplicate page.
I'll second that. Anyone from the public wish to speak on item C under the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Iovino?
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin?
Yes.
Mayor Hill?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kitchen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you for that, Mr. Dodd. We have no committee reports or appointments this evening, unless any council member has an individual report on a committee. All right, seeing none, we'll move to public hearings. We have none of those. Leads us to unfinished business. Item 10A, signage master plan update. Ms. Frazier.
Good evening, Council. A while back, we presented to you what we had done in the past and where we were moving towards in our plans for the signage in the city. This evening, since that time, we've been working with our consultant. We've come up with a good family of signs. This evening, we're requesting that the council makes a decision regarding the logo, the color palette, and the style that we want to move forward with all of in our public spaces, something that is compatible and consistent throughout the community. First off is the city sign logo. If you recall, we wanted to capitalize on the logo that is used fairly consistently throughout the city, especially in our welcome signs. If you recall, this was one of our goals, is to not reinvent the wheel, if you will. So this evening, we're asking the council to consider either the teal on green background or the white on green background. If we go back again, you'll see that the teal on green is used in the majority of the situations, at least for the logo. The other portions could be white. So these are items for your consideration. In going further, I want to assure you that in our family of signs, they are designed to meet ADA and MUTCD compliance. So they can be put up on DOT or our side roads and will be meeting all of this criteria. The family of signs that the differences that we wanted to point out to you, in keeping with our overlay in the CRA area, we have an old fishing village feel. So in that area, we were conceptualizing having the routed letters and logo, again, you know, either white or green logo on a background of green, dark green, and then the stands themselves being more of that gray, weathered wood look, if you would. Our park signs having the fake rope around them. So this is one choice. we can modify anything that you desire, but the second choice would be the black poles, just going with more of the black poles, even in our park signs throughout the city. Again, we can have whatever the logo is will be different, or it could be the same with the identification lettering. So if the logo is that teal color, we would recommend that the identification be white, just to stand out and give that contrast, if you will, that is recommended through MUTCD and ADA. So as you're looking through these things, we want you to know that once this decision is made as far as the logo and the style and the coloring, we can now move forward to preparing the bid package and selecting a sign manufacturing company for the next 3 years, lining them up with the proposed CIP, with a 3-year CIP, and start replacement. We have $200,000 in the budget to apply towards new signage, and we already have an assessment that's been performed in determining which signs should be replaced almost immediately. So with that.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm super excited about this. By the way, this is going to make such a big difference, certainly in the CRA and at our parks. This is really cool. I honestly don't care what council decides on the colors of the posts or the letters, so I'll just go along with anything there. I think the teal on green's fine, but if council chooses something, I'm good with and cool with all of that. So I'm like just excited about this. The only thing I have, there's 2 questions. First of all, on our welcome signs, now we've always had the 6 old grouches on those signs, and so I think that there's a lot of people in our community who believe that's important because it's a talking piece. So I want to make sure we don't lose that on our welcome signs. And then other than that, once we get through the 3-year period with our vendor, will the sign shop be able to do some of the work for replacement on these signs, or will we have to go outside to make the purchase if there's a sign damaged or something?
We could have the contract. Typically, it's 3 years with 1 year or 2-year extension over a 5-year period, and then of course we could just renew it, or we'd have to go out for bid again. I'm not sure on that one.
Okay, and then again, I said I have 2, but there's of course always something more for me, and I apologize for that. But if you look at the signs, the entrance signs that you have on here, one of them is, I believe it's the northbound, or no, that's the 512
Yes, that's
Sebastian
the 512,
sign.
yes.
And the material on that, it looks like it's aging pretty bad. Is the material of the signs going to be similar to the material that we used in the past, or is it going to be something different that's going to last longer?
We have been I wish I had that in front of me. We had been discussing different materials. Of course, today, after this has been built, but we've been discussing more of the materials that weather obviously better in our climate. A lot of it is that, I don't want to say, I'll say something wrong, but it is, I want to say acrylic, but it is not
It's like
acrylic.
a stucco, right? I mean,
Do you know, Brian?
it's like a foam, like stucco material.
So there are acrylic signs, and then the blades are metal, but some of the signs that are currently out there some of them are routed wood and painted, and
Yes.
some of them
Right.
are pressed
Foam, right?
that are pressed foam that are painted. And the answer to your first question is it wouldn't pay for us to buy the routing materials to reroute the signs. The destination signs, we would be able to do most of those.
Good.
directional signs, but it's very difficult in this UV environment in Florida to get a sign that's going to really hold up over 10 years unless you just go with straight 3M, which isn't really what we want. We want something more aesthetically pleasing with the Fisherman Village sign. So it's going to be difficult to go through that 10 or 12-year period without it starting to fade. Even if we choose the fake plastic, you know, the fake wood that's plastic, it starts deteriorating, so.
They'll get run over or something. I mean, the signs will be damaged or stolen or run over. There's going to be a lot of different needs for replacing signs over the years. So I'm very comfortable with with needing to go out as long as we have a contractor that we're comfortable with. And
Okay.
that's all I have.
I'll just put this out. I like the white on green as opposed to the teal. That's just my personal preference. But as far as the 6 old grouches are concerned, we probably need to change that number. There's 6 right here in the front of the room. I'm sure we could get a lot more if we include everybody in the audience, but I've always wondered where the 6 grouches were.
There's a story about that.
Actually, I'm not sure I would advocate including the 6 old grouches anymore, but that's okay. And I love the wayfaring sign structures. I think that's very distinctive. I think it was, is it Jupiter, maybe Jupiter, where I've seen this before in some of their areas, and it's really nice because it points you where you need to go, and it really works nice. So my personal preference would be the white on green, and then the Fisherman's Village type post as opposed to the plain black post. So,
You're talking about this,
yes. Yeah.
but with the lettering to be white.
The lettering to be white, yeah.
And I'm sorry, Councilman Dodd, are you also referring to the logo being white, or should that be the teal?
Oh, no, the logo needs to be the
Teal?
teal color logo. I'm talking about the lettering to be white with the teal color logo, which I think
Visually,
that's
that's
number
better.
2. I think that's number 2 on our option list.
Yes,
Is
sir.
the one that I like the
Yes.
best. And then I guess that's under the family of signs, that's the first option, is the one that you said was more of the Fisherman's Village kind of thing.
Correct.
I mean, I don't, within our comp plan rewrite, I don't know that we want to continue the Fisherman's Village, but assuming we do, then I think we should try to do that within the sign structure as well. Yeah.
Madam Vice Mayor?
I don't have a problem with that. White lettering is fine. I do like the teal
For the logo?
for the logo,
Yeah, so
though.
do I.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
I mean, the teal's nice, but it doesn't really matter to me.
Councilmember McParland?
Whatever you want. I'm colorblind, so.
Oh, that's not fair.
Councilmember Evino?
I'm for the teal lettering for the sign, and then the white lettering with the first set of signs looks good to me too. I like that. I just think that there's some contrast, so you're able to recognize the logo, but then you're also drawn to the verbiage on their destination, Fisherman's Landing, what have you. It's a little easier on the eyes. I don't see that well as I used to.
So you like that first sign
He likes number 1.
exactly the way it is with the teal?
Yes.
Okay, I could vote for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, so it seems like we have consensus. I know we have a couple of different variations of the consensus, but it seems like just from the polling that we have up here, it looks like the teal logo, white lettering on the signs with the first family of signs in the Wayfarer design. Does that seem reasonable? Now, there is going to be a battle apparently for the 6 old grouches line, so I think we need to hammer that out as well.
We need to leave that on the sign. It's been on the sign forever.
Yeah, I just think it's a point that newspapers have written about, and it's just something that's been brought up for years and years. So, I like it. So,
And those are just on the entrance signs? Those are on the
Yes, just on the
gateway
welcome
entrance
signs.
signs? Yes,
Well, we
sir.
want it on every city. I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
do you need a motion and anything on
I
that?
don't believe so.
we
I
good?
think,
I just want to clarify the post, because there was the black post or the gray post with the artificial rope wrap was, I understood that it was a Fisherman Village, which would be the gray post with the rope wrap. Is that correct?
Are you aware that there's rope wrap on that?
Yeah, I like that. I mean,
That's the first order. Yep.
I know the P&Z tries to extend that Fisherman's Village onto site plans that come across, so we may as well try to do the same thing within the sign structure.
but then be aware that this is also going to be in our parks outside of the CRA.
Okay.
And so, I mean, we could do just black for the parks. It's up
Is
to
there a
y'all.
life expectancy difference between the artificial rope and the black sign post? Is there anything
No.
like that that would be?
Why don't we do that, do the black post outside of the CRA and then within the CRA, we use the post.
We could also do that. Within the CRA, we could use the Fisherman's Village type post, and then outside of that, use the black. That would be fine.
I like that.
I mean, they're all really nice.
Is that confusing?
No, not at all.
All right. Does anyone from the public wish to speak on this issue? It may seem boring, but it's really actually quite exciting, so. All right, so we're good then, Mr. Carlisle?
Sorry?
We're good on this?
We're good.
All right, thank you.
For your input, and we'll make it happen.
All right, thank you. Leads us to item 11, public input. At this time, anyone who has any issue that's not currently on the agenda and wish to bring it to this council, you may do so at this time. There is a 5-minute limit to speaking times. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. I got up first thing, so I made sure I get in here. And you all read the front page of the newspaper yesterday, I suppose, about the condition of our lagoon.
Can you hold that up again real quick? I didn't get a chance to see
It
that.
says the potentially deadly toxin in the lagoon.
Yeah.
You read about that.
thank you.
It's basically from listening to the scientists, it's about eutrophication. You all know what eutrophication is? It's basically a simple, the excess richness of nutrients in a lake or other body of water, frequently due to runoff from land, which causes dense growth of plant life and death of animal life from lack of oxygen. So this is what the scientists are telling us we need to go after now. We realize that you don't care about the people getting sprayed with poisons in this town. You seem to do it without telling us, and you don't even tell us what the poison is. So it's done. We're going to let that go. You've already been on notice on that, so it's up to you and your conscience and the lawyers to deal with that. But now we're looking at, we've got a nutrient-enriched lagoon, and you're killing plants with poisons. The plants go into the bottom of the water, they add to the problem. So you're adding to an existing problem. You're not helping it, you're adding to it. You need to stop. You all need to quit. Just get up and walk away.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in the public? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Have a good night. Anyone else in the public? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi.
It's my first time here. I lived here 17 years, and I'm going to be a little bit more pleasant than the last gentleman.
Just your name, sir.
Marcus.
And you live in Sebastian?
Yes.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, council members, I just want to reiterate what the gentleman said before me, okay? Myself, when I moved here in '06, I noticed a big change. And I'm very concerned not only with the conservation, and this is the home of Pelican Island, I'm worried about overdevelopment as well. But right now, the situation he's talking about, yes, it's very important, okay? I'm not asking you people, I don't know you, you don't know me. But I'm telling you, something needs to be done, and that I ask you nicely, and please, we need transparency to tell us, your voters, okay, what are you going to do about it? Okay, that's all I ask, okay? And hopefully you will go with your conscience, you will go with your land preservation for Pelican Island, the Indian River Lagoon, and other conservation parks that you have attached to it. Okay, you did a nice job on the riverfront. Don't ruin it by people not going down there because they can't smell, they start coughing, okay, and they've gotten sick. So I would like to see a more appropriate approach. And like you said, Mr. Mayor, you said it will be a legal battle, it will be in court, okay? I will monitor those courts for their updates, and your you know, with your consent, I want to be there, okay? Because I want to hear what the state has got to say too, because they give you, I assume, federal money to keep these conservation parks up to date, okay? I don't know that for a fact. I have to vet the truth, okay, from everybody. And as your voter, I may be a deplorable, I shop at Walmart, but after what I've seen in the last 8 years, it's been terrible. It really has. Vote your conscience for your grandkids, your kids, and your grandkids' kids as well. Because if you act now, they'll be able to enjoy it. Okay? So think about that when you take your kids to the park next time and you're walking around and one or two of them starts coughing right off the bat. You'll know what I'm talking about. So please, use your conscience and your heart. Please. And Mrs. Kitchen?
Sir?
Yes.
All comments are to be directed straight to the chair of this committee, and that's me.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
All right.
No problem.
Well, that's all I got to say. I just wanted to congratulate Ms. Kitchen.
Okay.
And preferably, I'd like to see more women with you,
Thank you.
okay? I really do believe in that fact, that more women should be involved. Okay, thank you for your time, Council. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Have a safe 4th of July.
All right, thank you very much. And just for the record, I will say, you may sit down, sir. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes.
Oh.
Just for the record, City Sebastian is very transparent. Everything we do is on public record. So there's public record of everything we do. And the City of Sebastian is actually the only municipality or governmental agency at this time in this area looking into to improving or making sure that what we are doing in our canals and in our waterways are not only safe for the environment, but safe for our families. So the City of Sebastian is actually being very proactive, much more proactive than any of the other communities in our area. So we are looking into this. So however, thank you very much. If you want to know of anything that we have, it's all public record. Anyone else wish to speak this evening? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Diana Bolton of Sebastian, George Street, and I am an environmental marine science researcher, and I'm here on behalf of the Sebastian Property Owners Association as their environmental chair. There's been a couple of questions that have come up, and I'll reference one that has come up continuously. I did a talk over at the Sebastian Property Owners Association. It was a pool house. Everybody was invited. All the council people were invited. And I had mentioned something about a study that was done on a pediatric cancer cluster that has been brought up twice here in chambers by Mr. McFarland, saying that he had talked to the health department and they said they didn't see anything like that or know anything about it. Just to clarify, if you Google pediatric cancer cluster, it will come up along with a thermographic map, and I will email you. I have already sent you the information, but apparently I texted it to you and the links, and you did not receive it, or else you would not have been repeating that you knew nothing about it. But I will be resending this by email. It is done by the study, the pediatric cancer cluster, which has to do with brain tumors, leukemia, and lymphoma. Was done by Dr. Reed Amin of the University of West Florida, researcher. He is an esteemed professor with the Department of Mathematics and Statistics. He analyzed data over 7 years. Later, there were 4 more papers done to confirm his original numbers, done using different statistical analyses, because there was some question about whether it was correct or not. And then they expanded the study over 10 years. So yes, you can find it online, Google pediatric cancer clusters. It will come up with a thermographic map, but I will be following up with that with all the papers. So I didn't want to burden you with that. I did send you the links, but I'll resend them to you on emails. There was also some questions asked, and again, I'm at your service if there's any way at all I can help you to make good environmental decisions for our community. One was, does chemical spray result in increased algae blooms? The answer is yes. If you want more information on that, please see me. or you can you can reach me through SebastianPropertyOwners.com. The other question I was asked by some members here is, does algae pollen that is linked to neurological, does algae pollen spread for miles? The answer is yes, and the reason we're concerned is this has BMMA in it. Google BMMA, and you will see that it is causing Alzheimer's, dementia, and it does spread by the wind for miles. And most of the people that are around the coastal areas are now testing positive for it. This can have long-term effects, and it can be like a ticking time bomb and not show up until much later. My other point I want to make is about the budget. I spent 3 hours going through the draft proposal, and I noticed that on the stormwater, we've been asking to have a shift made from using so many chemicals and pesticides, which we know are harmful, to have a shift where the money is being spent the way we would like it to be spent, which is on less harmful practices. And I see no provision for that. I see that the money's going to be put into a main fund, but if possible, because I know I don't have enough time to really get the question and answers on this, is there someone that I could speak to outside of this meeting and get some questions answered, like your accountant or CFO or whoever can go over this budget with me, and I need some clarification on it, because what I see here is you're telegraphing your intention not to do anything differently. Is that what I'm seeing? Am I understanding that correctly?
Ma'am, all of the budget hearings are public. Anyone's welcome to go to those. We're going to have several budget hearings at this council. You're welcome to come to any of those.
Okay.
And to get any.
Rather than take up a lot of time, Mayor Hill, is it possible that I could speak to somebody just so I can get more educated on it? I could be missing something, but I did spend 3 hours
You
on
can always
it.
go to the city manager's office, and if he has available time, or one of his staff who work very hard and are very busy, if they have available time to answer your questions, I'm sure they will do so.
Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Do you have any questions at this time, or is there any way that I can help you?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I have a comment, though, that I want to make, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor.
That's fine.
As far as the budget's concerned, before you leave the podium, the budget that's being prepared, the document that's being prepared by the city manager that outlines the options, which, contrary to what the gentleman was up second said, we are working very proactively on this. I will tell you right now that all of the municipalities that we've talked to that have already produced a ban on using glyphosate or Roundup are in a quandary about what they're going to do. They don't know how they're going to fix their problems. There are even those, including the state, that have backed off that ban because they don't know how they're going to fix their problems. We chose to take the opposite approach. The city manager is producing a report. I spent time talking to him yesterday about it. He's comparing chemical, biological, and manual options to remove the vegetation from the canals. He's coming up with cost estimates for each of those. He's coming up with pros and cons on each of those options. And we are going to review that document and then have public disclosure on that document. At the time that we choose an option from that document, that's the time that we'll have to modify the budget. We can't modify the budget now because we don't know what we're doing to it. I mean, it's totally impossible to put money into a budget to change what you're spending if you don't know what you're going to change it to. We have every right and every opportunity to modify the budget at the time we choose that option. So if we choose an option that's going to cost $200,000 a year more than we're spending, then it's the responsibility of the council to come up with a way to fund that. And there are only two ways to fund it. Don't do something, tax. It's the only two ways to fund it. So part of our public discourse on this, when we talk about these options, is to ask a wide variety of the people in the city, what do you want to do? If you want this option, how do you want to fund it? You tell me, because if the five of us make a decision to fund it by not doing something, we're going to have mad people. If the five of us make a decision to fund it by raising taxes, we're going to have mad people. So the problem with local municipal government, unlike a lot of people in this issue who come before us constantly and demand that we make this decision, is that we have to please everybody Municipal government is a slow process because we have to try to please everybody. We can't just arbitrarily make a decision because it pleases the people who scream at us every 2 weeks. We can't do it.
Sure,
So-
I understand that we have 2 million in the
So all I'm saying
budget.
is, from the budget perspective, you will not see anything different in the budget because we haven't made a decision on how we're going to accomplish this.
All right, thank you,
I
ma'am.
think it's important that people hear that.
Okay.
He
It'll
answered
come
your
through
question. Thank-
stormwater though, right? Stormwater budget?
I don't know that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the public wish to speak on any issue that is not currently on the agenda? Yes, sir.
Joel Roth. I live at 1984 East Lakeview in Sebastian. I want to jump back a little bit and compliment the council on the decision on the signage. I think it's a nice concept, and I agree wholeheartedly with using the white background on it. Much more readable when you're driving 30, 35 miles an hour, which we should be doing. Talking about the Old Fishing Village concept, which I think is great. I mean, it's a heritage here, and looking at the display out here, I would like to see the city develop some type of a brochure illustrating designs that would be acceptable to the city for the Old Fishing Village concept. We've talked about it, and I'm also on the Plan Commission. We've talked about it there, and there are examples. I would like to see it go forward if we can possibly do it, because, you know, it's in the code, but developers will see a different picture when they look at the code than we do. And it's that old proverb, picture's worth 1,000 words.
Absolutely.
But we're on the right track. I like that, and I like the theme. It's a great talking point. 6 old grouches, so we just need building on that. And it gives us a little bit of a humor to the city and kind of puts us on the map, too. It's positive, so it's a nice way to do it. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else from the public wish to speak this evening? All right, seeing none. I'd like to a little bit on that issue. Don't we have something in the building department that sort of tells what it is they're allowed to build specific to the CRA? I mean, clearly that's where the Old Fishing Village is, but we have a CRA district, and don't we have sort of design parameters that would build into the CRA?
We do have a design parameters, and it's explained in the code, and there was, as I was talking with Lisa, there was some vague application drawings done. The problem is we don't want to say this is the only design you can do, because there's differences with parapet walls and outlooks and roof lines that are outlined in that. The roof lines have to be the same 4 ways around. And so to try, what we don't want to do is have a cookie cutter Fisherman's Village theme where every building looks exactly the same. So it's very specific in the outline of the roof lines, of the architecture, the lookouts, and every angle can't be the same. So it's defined fairly well in the code, but to try to develop this is what it has to be would create a cookie cutter, which really I don't think would be what we want either.
Yeah, I do like the concept, though. I think it's a great concept to sort of say, like, all right, start here. Here's sort of like this, but not necessarily have to be this. You know what I'm saying? When we originally went to the Old Fishing Village theme, I think one of the first buildings that were built in Sebastian was the bank that's by Walmart. That's sort of shaped like Noah's Ark, right? And so I think that they completely missed it on that building. So I do like the idea of saying, all right, so this is sort of what a fishing village is. Don't build your house like or your business like a boat necessarily, but what the old village looked like in the past. But I do thank you for your comments and like the idea.
Some of the things we do have in place now, if I may, Mr. Mayor, is we have several newer buildings or remodeled buildings and some that are coming in where the old Stuckey's building, the old State Farm, they've brought in a new design. So one thing we will be able to do for developers that want to come in is go say, look at this building, look at this building, or look at that building. Maybe not one that looks like a boat, but they can look at where success stories have been made and integrate that into their design. So maybe a pamphlet isn't the best way to go, but maybe some actual true architecture ideas examples that we can direct them to may be a better opportunity.
Sure, and we're going to be going through the process of figuring all that out over the next several months or years. Anyway, to figure out exactly, to, I guess, identify exactly what we want to be going into the future, right? So.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else from council at this time? All right, thank you. That'll lead us to item 12. Item 12A, first reading of ordinance number 0-19-04. Mr. Stokes.
Yes, an ordinance of the City of Sebastian, Florida, providing for the voluntary annexation for land consisting of 1,118 acres, more or less, located south of County Road 510, right-of-way, west of lands adjacent to the 74th Avenue, ROW, north of 69th Street, ROW, and east of 82nd Avenue, ROW, providing for the extension of the corporate limits and boundaries thereof, providing for interim land use and zoning classification, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for conflict and severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Carlisle.
Mr. Mayor, Ms. Frazier's here to talk about this item. The main purpose of this public hearing is for you to set is for the City Council to hold its first reading of the ordinance, hopefully August 28, 2019. There's not a lot of public input, you're allowed for public input at this point, but the main purpose of this ordinance for this voluntary annexation is to set the hearing date and also answer any questions that council or the public may have, and the applicant is here as well. I'll turn it over to Ms. Frazier for any particular comments that you may have. Questions?
Thank you. I just wanted to point out that this is all in accordance with the Florida Statute 171.044 under voluntary annexation, and it meets that criteria as well as the City of Sebastian Comprehensive Plan. This property is adjacent to the boundaries of the City of Sebastian. And the applicant has requested a mix of future land use designations in order to achieve consistency with the city's adopted future land use element of the 2009 comprehensive plan. And the property currently maintains an active agricultural use, so the zoning will remain as agricultural A1 until such time as conceptual planning has been completed for the property. A statement of impact and concurrency analysis has been submitted by the applicant, as well as our staff analysis. So we are here to answer any of your questions.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, I'll take any input from the public at this time on ordinance number O-19-04. Yes, sir.
Island Audubon Society, and I was wondering if you've gotten a letter from the county administrator on this subject?
I believe there was one delivered today. We'll have that discussion. I believe there was one delivered today, but we'll have that discussion.
I couldn't understand.
I believe that was delivered today, but we'll have that discussion.
So they seem pretty much opposed to the project. You haven't discussed it with the county at all?
It was delivered today, I believe. Sir, I'm trying to answer your question, okay?
Good.
All right, so let me answer the question.
Right.
I believe it was delivered today. I have not, and I don't know about any other council member as to whether or not they've received their letter.
Oh.
So I have not seen a letter from the county on this issue.
Okay, well, I have seen a copy of the letter, and they've outlined reasons that this proposal should not go through. I know the staff received it and take a look at it.
We received it at 4:30 today from Jason Brown, and there's some comments in there that we need to address and some that they have made. He reached out to me to meet with him sometime prior to the public hearing to discuss those options. We have met with the county. We have met with the county planning staff. We've met with individuals with the county prior to this meeting and had comments from them, from Stan and from Phil, and the applicant has reached out to the county utilities. So the process is still moving forward. There's statements in there that we need to address and comments need to be addressed. There's questions and there's dissenting comments there. It's all part of the process.
So Dr. Baker, we will receive everything and have full discussion on every single item that there is to be seen on this issue prior to voting for annexation on this.
That's good, because the county is very concerned, in their letter, it was very, very concerned about the proposal and are totally against it.
I look forward to reading it.
And I would think that staff would have brought this before you.
Okay.
Because they've had previous discussions with the county over this issue.
Okay.
You just
Dr.
said.
Baker.
But there hasn't been any, can I talk?
You may talk to me, though. Okay.
There's not been any written thing in the staff report about discussions with the county, I don't believe. Okay. And I just don't understand why that wasn't done. It looks like this is kind of a job to get through as quickly as you can without looking at all the facts.
Can I answer you real quick? Real quick? So the agenda item was prepared last Thursday and delivered to us for the weekend so that we could study this. Apparently, a letter was delivered today at almost 5 o'clock, after 4 o'clock in the afternoon from the county. So it's reasonable that we wouldn't have received that from the city manager, as we did have a 5 o'clock meeting prior to this one. So I can assure you that everything that the city gets from the county, from all sides of this issue, we will have in front of us, and we'll have plenty of opportunity to deliberate it, and we will have plenty of opportunity for the public to discuss it as well.
Good. I would like to see that the public has this information, because obviously they've had discussions with the county already, and you aren't aware of it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, if you'll notice in the staff report, there is a section where we talked to the Indian River County and the land use, and it's talked with Stan about the proposed land uses. So there were comments in the staff report pertaining to comments from the county.
Yes.
We did not receive comments from the utility section, even though I believe that the applicant had reached out to them, but we have received comments from the county, and they are included in the staff report.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Pamela Perez, representing SPOA, Sebastian Property Owners Association. I live on Gerald Street in Sebastian. And to elaborate on what the gentleman just spoke about, so the public will be able to see the plans, I'm assuming, before the 28th? Is that what I'm hearing or understanding? Because we have concerns about agricultural zoning without knowing the density, impact of stormwater on the Sebastian River, and the boat ramps and the schools. All these issues will be put to light to the public prior to the 28th? I'm trying to understand.
Of course they will.
Okay. In what format and where?
Everything we do relative to anything is open to the public. Our meetings are all public meetings. Everything we have, all of our documentation that we receive can be found online. So everything is very public, and the public is actually welcome to participate in everything we do.
Okay, so I'll be able to see that. The letter, for example, that came late today.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And all the other issues. And add to it.
Ma'am, you can see every single document that we receive. And all you have to do is go to the city's website, go to the full agenda, download the full agenda, and everything we have, you will have.
I look forward to it.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public wish to speak on this item? All right. Seeing none. Mr. Carlisle?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, at this time, it would be prudent if the council would adopt a date for the public hearing. And just for everyone's edification, all of the documents will be at the Planning and Zoning Community Development Office for the site plans and the proposed plans, and all that will be there for public review as required by statute. And the public hearings will be posted for 2 weeks at City Hall and 4 weeks prior to the meeting.
All right, thank you. With that being said, Council, I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number O-19-04, petition for voluntary annexation from Graves Brothers Company, and set the public hearing for August 28, 2019.
Second.
A motion is second. Now, I'll go ahead and start on this. This is a different type of annexation than we've ever done in the city, I can tell you that. So I can assure the public that I will be digging very deep into this and doing cost benefits and all of the important things that we do prior to making the decisions that are for the best interest of this community. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us on this, and I can assure you that from my case, there's no yes or no sitting in this chair, and I don't know what's sitting out here, but going forward with this process, we'll learn a lot about the ideas that are going to take place on this property. I have received a letter that I want to just clarify with somebody. There was some concern about septics, and I can assure you that it is not legal to have additional septics put in the city in new developments. All new developments require county hookup to the septic system and water. So those are requirements that are set. So we'll make sure that those things are all followed. So rest assured there will not be, a bunch of new septics put out there at the in and around the Sebastian River. So, I go forward, I recommend and I'm comfortable going forward this process, but I can assure you that it's going to be a long process. There's going to have to be a lot of questions answered by both staff and development, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot from the public who we welcome to engage in the process as well. So if anyone from the public wishes to see anything that we have, it's always available at the city website. You can just go to meeting agendas and download the full agenda, or you can go to our Laserfish and just type something in and you'll find it on there. So, Council, anything else?
I actually asked specific questions about the septic and the sewer, the septic and the water. There is adequate capacity on 510 that's adjacent to this property. The county has already extended into a proposed subdivision that they're going to build next door to this. Hard for me to understand what their objections are to us. Their objection is that we're annexing land that they own now, so that's probably the main objection. But they propose subdivisions in this particular area that are as dense as this, and this does not qualify. It's 1,100 acres. Their new town, or is it new town's way that's the term?
Yes, sir.
Their new town specification is a 1,500 acre piece of property, so they would have to modify that to try to extend that into here. And in reading their new town specification, what I'm seeing in the charts in this document, what's being proposed in here protects the current wetlands that are in there, and it also has town center structures, and it has. The applicant intends to maintain the streets. They're not being turned over, yet they're going to pay impact fees. It's a positive cash flow for the city for that purpose. I don't know that it really matters. If people don't want growth, the county is not as anti-growth as everybody thinks they are. They've approved subdivisions up here, and they're going to approve more, and they're going to approve subdivisions on this piece of property if it's in the county. The question is whether they'll do what we want to do within the city. And I think it's appropriate that we look at the property along 510 that's concurrent with the city boundaries as property that lends value to the city of Sebastian, and it also, because of its proximity to the city, it also behooves us to think that we might want some control over how it's developed, as opposed to having someone else have control over how it's developed. I haven't seen a letter. I can almost probably in my own mind work down through what I think is probably in it. I would like to see it. I know we have to deal with that. I think it's important that we do that. I can assure everybody out there that all the concurrency issues, all the sanitary issues, I've been involved in this either on the Planning and Zoning Commission or on the council for about 12, 13 years now, and I have not one time seen a decision made that intentionally destroyed the property within this city and was negative towards the customers. So when you come up and tell us that you don't think we're going to do the right thing, it kind of bothers me a little bit because we tend to try to do the right thing. I hear all of your complaints and all of your concerns are all valid. It's very valid to not want more septic tanks. It's very valid to know that we're going to protect the wetlands. I will assure you, though, that the council's not going to allow something happen to those wetlands, not going to allow someone to put a subdivision in that's on septic tanks and is draining the well aquifer, or dropping wells in the draining aquifer to the wetlands. So we're not going to do that. So I'm in favor of moving forward with this. I definitely would like to make sure that we do put the information together that came from the county and that we address it. So I'd like to see it personally. So
yeah, we'll make sure the council gets a copy of it.
Okay.
It'll be posted. It'll be in our package as well.
All right, thank you. Any other comments from City Council? All right, hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Iovino.
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Yes.
Mayor Hill.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kitchen.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
yes.
The motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Stokes, do you have any brilliance for us this evening?
Just real briefly, we had our special magistrate hearing yesterday, and we do have a couple very chronic properties. So by our next meeting, I'm going to be bringing some proposals as far as my desire to maybe foreclose on some chronic properties. These are properties that are vacant, have been vacant for 10 years, and we can't even really find the owner. One of them's a defunct corporation, but yet someone's still paying the taxes. We don't know why. I know I had conversations with a few of you on this individually, and I'll talk to you through the week, but we're going to need to deal with these, and I naturally am not going to file foreclosures without your approval beforehand, so I will be bringing that to you and talking to you in the next 2 weeks about that. So.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Mr. Carlo.
I have nothing to add, except I'm looking forward to our 4th of July celebration.
Me too. Madam Clerk.
I just want to add on to the 4th of July celebration, when the floats go by, if the float participants could not throw candy and trinkets and stuff so the children aren't hit. And it's to keep Indian River Drive pretty. No trash, no debris after the parade.
So we don't throw candy and trinkets?
The floats, correct.
Okay. No candy, Bob. No.
Well, good luck with that. Just kidding. Thank you very much.
Hey, you just saved me like 80 bucks in candy, so
Tell that to my 6-year-old great-grandson who throws the candy.
Yeah, that sounded like a request. So thank you very much. Councilmember Evino.
nothing for me.
Councilmember McPartlin.
No, sir.
Thank you. I would like to once again say that 4th of July is going to be amazing here in Sebastian, as it always is. Hopefully God is good to us and the weather is great. I look forward to the new display of fireworks that we're going to have, and look forward to seeing everyone out there. Vice Mayor Kinchin.
Same thing. I echo the mayor's sentiments, and everybody have a safe holiday. Please, if you're doing fireworks at your home, please be sure you're doing them safely.
I have one thing. We had two of the officers from SPOA that came up and spoke this evening, and I appreciate the fact that they did that, but I'd like to make a personal request that when you come up to the podium and you represent SPOA, if you've actually had discussions and a vote by your members asking that you forward a stance by the committee by the association to the council, would you please tell us that that's what it is so we know? If you're presenting your opinion and you're representing the fact that you're an officer in SPOA, that's fine. It's just that if I would like to personally know if there's been a motion and a vote, and if so, make some specific definitions of what's coming from that organization. I think it would be highly beneficial for me to at least know that. It's a personal request that I've had to do that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. There being no further business, we are adjourned.